Hello. So, we're going to get ourselves into a closed knee child's pose. Come onto your knees. Drop your hips back. I'm trying to keep your knees together, your feet together, bringing your chest down. And just allowing your head to rest wherever it's comfortable, and the arms are coming down by the side. It's kind of like you're tucking yourself in to create a ball shape. Just take some big, deep breaths when you get there. And it's nice to just allow the shoulders just to hang so you can feel that space in between the shoulder blades opening up. And see if you can take your breath into that place and then see it journeying down deeper into the back of the body. That's going to be your journey in. And when you journey out, it's just going to be the reverse of that. Nice, slow, steady breaths. If you want to add a count, see if you can breathe in for 6 and breathe out for 6. So I've got this nice equal, but very slow, deep, mindful breath. And we're going to do this for a minute. Good, and just have one more full big breath in and big breath out. And we're just going to change into a wide knee child's pose. So just lifting up, hands coming towards the front, keeping the feet together and just taking the knees a little bit wider. And then just enjoying that stretch of the arms forward, bringing the forehead down. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. And we're just going to stay here for 6 breaths as well. So really grounding ourselves into the start of our practice. And again, one more big deep breath in and out. And then slowly just coming up into tabletop. Sure, I'm sure that your legs need a little bit of a stretching out. So stretch one out, have a little bit of a play, pushing the heel away, and then swapping over when you feel comfortable. So once we get ourselves ready to hold in our tabletop, just make sure your hands are about shoulder distance and your knees are about hip distance. So you can almost track your hands and your knees and your feet in the same kind of line. So you've got a column of space running down the middle, the center of your mat. And just breathe here. And every time we breathe in, see if we can take that breath into the spine and finding some more expansion. Remembering that we had that spot in between the shoulder blades right at the beginning. See if we can find that again. So taking the breath to there, allowing it to travel down on the inhale, down to the bottom of the spine maybe, all the way down, and then slowly coming back up again on that exhale. A few more of those. So we're going to take it into bird dog. So we're going to extend the left leg out, keep the toes tucked under first of all, get that left hand wherever it needs to be. I always like to pull it in a little bit. And we're just going to extend the right arm out. So you can stay here or you can pick that left leg up. And we're looking for a balance here, 6 big breaths. If you're finding it difficult to concentrate and hold here, see if you can get that kind of Darth Vader-y sound in the throat, just a little gentle one, not a crazy one, so that you can really focus on the feeling and the sound of your breath, keeping you present. It's also keeping your mind occupied, because in balances, if you start to wander with your mind, that's when you're going to fall over. Good. Let's have one more big breath and then coming back. And then just straightening out the right leg, keeping the toes tucked under, extending that left arm, and then maybe picking that foot up. And see if you can find that expansion again through the spine when you breathe in. Last breath. And then just slowly coming back to our tabletop. Now we're going to keep the hips and the knees where they are. I'm just going to take the hands just on a little bit of a journey over towards the left. So got my left hand that's come off the mat. That's okay. Got quite an interesting curve coming into the spine now. And just breathe in here. So whenever we've got these differences in our body, so we've got this compression at this left side and this expansion on the right side of the torso, just breathe into this new space that you can feel. So we're expanding intercostal muscles in between the ribs. Allow the tummy to soften. Just check what you're doing with your head and your shoulders. Allow them to be quite soft. And we've held this one for about 6 breaths. Let's just see how far we could get now. So just taking the hands maybe a little bit further. We're not going to hold this one, but just have a big deep breath in and then bring ourselves really slowly back. It's quite an interesting compress on this left side. And then we're just going to walk the hands over towards the right, nice and slow. Now this should feel really nice. It's almost like a concertina kind of opening. You don't have to go too far, and then we're just going to hold here, breathing into what we can feel in the body, this space. And then maybe just taking it a little bit further, just exploring a range of motion. It's probably going to be quite intense. Deep breath in and then slowly coming back. Beautiful. Well done. It's probably going to feel really nice if you just give yourself a little bit of a bum wiggle. So kind of like you resetting both sides. Then we're going to drop the head round, head down, tuck the tailbone under and come into cat. So allow that nice long stretch to come into the neck first of all. See if you can allow the head to be really heavy so you're not holding any weight in it with the muscles. Good, well done. And just coming back to a neutral spine. Now we're going to keep your left knee there. We're going to see if we can bring our right foot in towards the centre of the hands. But we're going to have to move our right hand out of the way. And then we're going to drop the right hand just on this inside and move the left hand just over just a little bit. So it's not that much of a kind of stretch through the groin. Probably going to feel quite a lot of pressure in the right hip. And come up into tented fingers and let's just lengthen through the spine here. So arms are straight, but a little bit of softness and the elbows are not locking them out. Just checking in with your body. And then we're just going to repeat what we've just done. We're just going to take the fingertips over towards the left and try and keep that right knee where it is. And back. Well done. So this time we are going to take that right hand over so that we've got left hand, right foot, right hand. And then just take that left knee back just a little bit. And we're just going to lift and lengthen through the spine. It's going to feel a little bit different in this right hip. Our job here is to notice all these differences. Then we're going to take the hands up off the floor onto the knee. Let's drop the shoulders down, maybe give them a little bit of moving. That could feel nice. So quite a decent stretch coming in now to the groin and the hip flexors. And let's swoop our arms all the way up. So imagine you've got a beach ball in between your hands. We're going to keep the gaze coming out from us. We're not looking up, looking down. We're taking the fingertips up. We might be pulling the arms a little bit further back to open through the chest. It's quite a deep stretch. Let's look up towards our hands. See if we can stretch our fingers up a little bit further. One more breath in. And then on the exhale, very slowly bringing your hands down. Good. Tented fingers, and we're going to curl the left toes under, lift up the knee, and just seeing what this feels like here. So you might want to have a little bit of a play, coming backwards, forwards. That can feel really nice. So once you've got into a position that you feel okay to hold, we're not holding this one for too long. See if you can just really straighten out the spine again, push the left heel back. So we've got a big stretch and the right knee's kind of staying somewhere above the right ankle. Beautiful, well done. So there's quite a lot of pressure on the fingers. I'm seeing if I can just take a bit more weight into the body. So we're going to get ourselves into a wide-legged forward fold from here. So a little bit of a bounce so that you can drop the left foot down and just get yourself up into the center and turn so the toes are facing forward and just allow a hanging sensation to come in. So maybe you can feel it in the backs of the legs. It's nice to just play around with how your body's feeling when you come into these big, deep stretches. So we're folding forward. See if we can get a nice relaxed sensation through the shoulders, the neck, the head. And then we're going to do a quarter turn so that we're facing the back of the mat. And drop the right knee down. We're going to pull that right knee quite in. We're just going to repeat what we did on this side. So we're going to have both fingers on the inside of this left foot. Let's keep the left knee over the ankle. Try and have the hip over the right knee. And just lift and lengthen forward. See how this feels. See how the pressure feels on this left hip. And then we're going to take a little bit of a twist to the right, keeping that left knee there. And then back to the center. So we're going to bring that left hand over the left foot. We're going to take the right knee back a bit into a low lunge. So extending through the spine, tented fingers. So we're preparing in a moment to be lifting the hands up. So again, I feel like I've got quite a lot of pressure building up through my fingertips. I'm just going to see if I can put more weight into the left leg. It's going to intensify the sensation in my hip, my left hip. But on the next inhale, everybody's going to pull your hand up, hands up, and bring it onto the knee. Good, well done. Let's have a couple more breaths here. So every time we kind of find ourselves being held in a position, see if we can notice what our back is doing. Think about ways that we can just ease into it a little bit deeper. So we're going to take the arms up. We're going to keep the gaze forward. Maybe pulling the shoulder blades together, opening through the chest, fingertips up, and let's look up towards the ceiling. A little bit more challenging. So sometimes we can get ourselves into kind of complete variation of the pose, so looking up, but we don't notice these subtle changes. So we're taking it nice and slow. Gaze up, one more breath, deep breath in, and then exhale, bring your hands down. Good. So we're curling the right toes under, lifting up that knee. Have a little bit of moving backwards and forwards. And then just come to stillness when you're ready. I want you to push the right heel back to really activate the muscles in that right leg. And then we're going to get into that wide leg forward fold again. So a little bit of a bounce, and then the back foot turns, coming up and just swooping the legs round. And let's drop the head down. And we're going to get ourselves into a ragdoll. So grabbing hold of the elbows, the opposite elbows. And just relaxing here. Good. Let's lift up into a halfway. Keep the feet and the legs the same. I'm just going to bring the hands to just above the knees and push into the legs and feel that nice long length through the spine. And then very slowly coming back up, back up. We're going to bring the feet together. So nice, slow. It's like a little heel toe. Just come into mountain. So feet are about hip distance apart. Turn the palms of the hands forward. I'm just going to drop the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Not meant to touch. We're just having a bit of a stretch down the sides of the neck. Good. Back up to the center and dropping the left ear down. And then back up to the centre. Wonderful. Give yourself a bit of a shake out. So we're going to get ourselves into a balance, but it's going to be like a bit like a pigeon, standing pigeon balance. So left leg is going to be the standing leg. We're going to pick up the right foot, bring it across, and see if we can bend that left leg a little bit further. Hands come to the heart center. So it's kind of like a chair position as well. But we've got our right knee crossed, and we're going to hold here 6 breaths. Good. One more breath. And swapping over. So let's drop the right leg down, give the left leg a shake. And we're going to really plant the right foot down, soften the knee, grabbing that foot. Get in position. 6 breaths. See if you can lengthen through the spine. Got 2 more breaths. And returning back to mountain. Give your legs a shake. And then just come into stillness and just closing your eyes just for a moment while thinking about expanding through the spine again. But grounding through the soles of the feet. So it's becoming the tallest version of yourself. So you've got that inhale, bring yourself up. And on the exhale, see if you can bring yourself down, but keep that expansion through the skeleton. See if you can do that. I was going to say skeletal system. Just say the skeleton. Our body is incredible. Honestly, there's so much going on. So good. Absolute miracle. Fabulous. Well done. Now we're going to do a quarter turn towards the top of the mat and stand where maybe about a foot from the top of the mat. We're going to swoop our arms up. Deep breath in. Got that beach ball. A little bit of a back bend, and then exhale, fold forward, nice and slow. So straight leg forward, fold. Take any movement that you need here. And then taking a deep breath in, getting into a halfway position. So the legs should be as straight as possible, hands just resting onto the shins. And we can start to notice our back. See if we can get it so it feels like it's straight. And we're making sure that the back of the neck feels nice and long as well, dropping the shoulders in. And then getting into a downward facing dog. So you take as long as you need to. Stepping one leg back or maybe getting onto your knees. So this is our first downward facing dog. So let's just take a gaze up towards our hands, spreading your fingers nice and wide, pushing the whole of the palm of the hand into the mat, including the knuckles. See if you can get all 5 knuckles on each hand pressing in. And that might feel like you're pushing your mat away, which is great. You might find a little bit length through the armpits. And then just drop the head down completely. Thinking about lengthening through the spine as much as possible so the head is dangling down, that tailbone is lifted up, we're pushing into the floor, legs, knees, doing whatever you need to do to find just some stillness so there shouldn't be any shaking. It's not about getting the legs straight and the heels down. I was taught that this was about straightening through the spine, this pose, this inversion. So legs can be doing whatever your legs need to do to be at ease. Maybe the more that you do your yoga practice, the deeper you will be able to get into your downward facing dog. But if your knees need to be bent, your heels are up, it's all good. Good, well done. And then coming back onto the knees. And this time keeping the toes tucked under, and we're just going to push back. So keeping the hands where they were in downward facing dog. Now stretching out the soles of my feet. Maybe have a little bit of a bounce to intensify it and then release. I think it's called ballistic stretching. There's not many things that I remember, particularly when it's to do with the anatomy. Absolutely shocking. But ask me about chakras, I can tell you about chakras. And just breathe in here. See if you can push into the mat again. See if you can push all the knuckles down, all the palms of the hands. And then we're going to get ourselves into camel. So the toes stay tucked under. We're going to take the hands back, but we've got to lift up our hips so that they come above our knees. Now we've got a couple of versions that we can do. Let's go for the first version. First version is taking the arms in front, it's like zombie arms. Allow your hands to be dropping forward and just take the weight back. So you're going to feel your quads kind of engaging and stretching. That can feel quite nice. And we try to tuck the tailbone under, so that might feel a bit more intense through the quads. So this is kind of like version 1. Could go in for kind of side camel, if you ever go doing that. Now, whenever you kind of come out of camel, particularly if you feel that you've really pushed your hips forward, pull them back first. Side camel, straight. Let's go for left arm long, down. Right arm is going to come up. Now, you might be able to take the weight back and bring your hand onto your left ankle. If that's not available, just have that left arm down. Thinking about maybe taking the right arm out and up, and then pushing the hips forward. Good. So remembering that we need to pull the hips back, right arm down. Let's swap over. So you might find that one side's probably a little bit easier than the other. Pushing the hips forward. Maybe looking up towards the ceiling. And releasing. So hips back, left arm down and coming up. Now, if you couldn't get your hands down towards your heels, just come back to that version. So pushing your hips forward as much as you can. If you could get your hands down, you can have a go at coming into a full version. So there's nothing wrong with really pulling your hips back, hands there, and then pushing forward. So get yourself into which version suits you best. Maybe you start to think about dropping the head down if you've got your hands there as well. And you've got this kind of nice curved shape. And pushing the hips forward. Opening through the chest as well. It's kind of reverse of child's pose. We're going to rest in that in a moment. So have a deep breath in and then hips back. making any noises that feel right, any grunts and groans, and then just come into whichever child's pose feels good for you. So releasing those feet might feel really intense, so just be gentle with them. If you need to wiggle your toes, do that, and just allow yourself to come down and rest that forehead down, just taking some big, deep, soothing breaths here. Just allowing your body to come right back down. And just a couple more breaths. And then just coming back up into tabletop. So just think about if there's anything else that your body kind of needs or is asking for here. If you want to, you can get yourself into any type of pose, because it is time. We've spent half an hour together. Can you believe it? It's time for me to be switching off, because you've got your own practice if you want it, or no. And then it's Shavasana. So Shavasana, give yourself 3 to 5 minutes, lying on your back, closing your eyes, and just really enjoy it. As long as you feel nice and warm and comfortable. Deep relaxation, focusing on your breathing, focusing on just releasing and letting go. I'm going to do a Shavasana. Not sure how long it's going to be, but I'm going to switch off the video now. So thank you so much for joining me. Namaste, and I hope you have a wonderful Shavasana.